Who actually sets the market prices for pre-owned watches? Me and Stu.
A Sprite, even at list, and even better if you managed to get one which was fully stickered. It would definitely be a watch that I would put away.
Will the premium on the latest reference Panda Daytona decrease in the future, or will it retain its value?
And when they finally did discontinue, I don't think anybody was trading them. Nobody was buying.
When it gets discontinued...
What do you mean, when? Have you heard that it's getting discontinued?
No, obviously, well, at some point, but...
As a business, sometimes we shouldn't buy, but John buys.
But you can have 20 Batmans in stock.
Do you think the yellow gold Daytona with the green dial will ever reach 100,000 again?
No.
Today we're going to answer questions from our viewers about watches and the pre-owned watch market. Okay, jumping in with the first question, John.
What are your thoughts on the Sprite and mint green Sky Dweller getting the chop this year?
I don't think so. Potentially the Sprite, definitely. I wouldn't have said the Sky Dweller. So the Sky Dweller comes in both bracelets. The Oyster came out first and the Jubilee came out last year. So yeah, 2024, so that watch has been out for a very short period of time to begin with. The Sprite, it's one of those watches people speculate because of it being the left-handy, the only one in the collection. And if it does discontinue, then yeah, it's going to become a very collectible watch in years to come. But personally, I'm very bad at these sort of guesses. It always goes the opposite way for me. So I would probably say, in my opinion, both of them aren't going to be discontinued.
What ones are on the rumour mill to discontinue?
The Sprite's always been there. You have the OP. The Celebration dial.
The Pepsi is always, again, a one that's discussed, but I think the Sprite hasn't been out long enough for it to discontinue.
A Sprite, even at list, and even better if you managed to get one which was fully stickered. It would definitely be a watch that I would put away in having my collection. Any thoughts on what you think might be getting discontinued, John?
The Celebration, if I had to pick something.
Why is that? Just because of speculation?
Just a lot of people who know the chief executive of Watches of Switzerland and that sort of rumour that you get every year. I think with the mint green Sky Dweller, again, they've just changed the full range, and I think the green's very popular. It resells at quite a premium.
I'll tell you one thing. In my opinion, Rolex are producing a lot more of the green dial because that's the popular watch compared to the white. We get a lot more clients who have the green to sell than the other dials.
You don't see a lot of the 24, 25 in black or white for the steel ones.
What would you add to this collection? So the chap has Datejust 41 blue dial, fluted bezel with a Jubilee bracelet. He's also got a non-date Submariner, a root beer and a Batman.
It's a good collection, first of all. There's no yellow gold in there, so maybe the yellow gold GMT, the bimetal one, the 126713 GRNR.
If it was me personally, I would probably try and stick to the ceramic Daytona in there.
Yeah.
That would be the one.
Good shout. Or if you wanted a bit of yellow gold in there, you could have a bimetal Daytona. Is the wait time for Rolex sports models decreasing, and is a 9-month wait for a Kermit reasonable?
I think so. Yeah, it will all just depend on where he goes, where he shops, what his spend is.
What would you say, just from speaking to customers, what's the shortest time somebody's waited for a Submariner? And what about the longest?
A week and 5 years. Yeah.
I think there'll be people waiting forever. I think some of these lists for some models will have thousands of people on them.
I think it just all depends on what your relationship is with the person who's selling you the watch. If you go in there and it's the actual birthday of it's a special occasion, I think they're going to bump you to the list. If you just walk in there and say, oh, well, I want to buy such and such model, they might pop you down on this imaginary list.
So out of the clients that you work with, like say John, the people that you buy from, would you say there's more people who could get a Kermit in 9 months than there is who couldn't get a Kermit in 9 months?
Definitely not. I think there's very few people, unless they've bought 5 or 6 watches already and spent a significant amount of money, that will get one in 9 months. I think it's nigh on impossible for anybody that's bought 1 or 2 watches to get a Kermit in 9 months. I think probably 3 to 5 years. The other thing is, Kermits, when they first came out, were being resold for around £20,000. They're probably sort of 12 or 13 now, depending on.
And just to clarify, the Kermit is, so people use that interchangeably with the Starbucks. Yeah, so I assume he's talking about a Starbucks.
Yes. Yeah. For the latest Mark II bezel, 2024, 2025, maybe 13,000. But what I've seen is it came out in mid-2020. You can get a Mark 1 bezel now for around 11,000 for an older one.
Right.
It's 9.5 out of the shop. So
you've got like a 2K difference between the oldest 2020 Mark 1 and a brand new Mark II.
A couple of £1,000 worth of spread, but I'd be interested to see maybe in the comments if anybody has managed to get something a lot faster than we're discussing there. Has the Sky Dweller price reached its lowest point? So it would depend on what you're talking about, because if you're talking about an older precious metal watch, I see really good value in a pre-owned Sky Dweller, you know, a yellow or a rose gold with the previous styling. I see good value in that as it stands at the minute. And at the lowest point in general, I would probably, personally, I wouldn't expect the price of the Sky Dweller across the board to reduce in value, in my opinion. It just depends on which one we're talking about, because obviously the green goes for high premium. So does the blue and in the steel, and steel and gold is bog. If you're a fan of the steel and gold Sky Dweller, and that's the watch that you want, there's some bargains, some really good deals to pick that watch up pre-owned.
A steel and gold white dial on an Oyster, how much is that?
Out of Rolex, the list price is about 19,000 something for a Jubilee.
Yeah.
The Oyster's a little bit less. We can supply an older one of the previous model, 13 to 14,000 depending on condition.
I'm guessing there's not very many current ones in the market because people aren't buying them because they're
in steel and gold.
Steel and gold. So like, do you ever get offered like a 24 or a 25 white dial steel and gold?
We get offered a lot of them, but that doesn't mean that the person that's offering them has got it. They've been offered it themselves. So we get offered them a lot, but we don't buy a lot. We still probably, I don't know, we probably buy one a month.
And if you want bang for your buck, solid gold watch, pick up a yellow gold Sky Dweller with the Roman dial, you're talking 26 to 28,000 pounds for an older watch.
If you look at the precious metal Oyster Flex Sky Dweller models, they're like 38,000 out the shop now. You can pick them up for mid to high 20s.
I tell you about a Sky Dweller which we haven't seen a lot of, but we did when it first came out. It's again probably because of the list price. In my opinion, it will sell for in and around the list price, which is the rose gold on Jubilee with the blue dial.
That's a beautiful watch, yeah.
Beautiful watch.
Really, really nice. But that's the best part of 50 grand now. And you can buy a chocolate or a rhodium dial probably for mid-30s, would you say?
Yeah.
We used to get offered a lot last year, though. We used to get offered them all the time. You're right, I haven't seen or been offered one for a good while.
It's very difficult for us to source a watch like that, a brand new watch, because nobody's willing to lose that amount of money. So again, the prices of pre-owns, especially the gold pieces, I can see them increasing, just because of the scarcity of stock in the market. In the full gold models, there's definitely not as many coming through.
Who actually sets the market prices for pre-owned watches? Me and Stu. In reality, the answer is the consumer,
market.
the market, the people that buy them.
Pre-owned watch prices are determined by supply and demand.
Yeah, it's as simple as that.
That's what it is.
Yeah, you've got, in any market, you've got buyers and you've got sellers. One's asking one price and one's bidding another price, and they've got to come to some sort of agreement in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Just
no
like any market.
There's no fixed price. It just depends on the supply and demand of that current model at the current time in whichever country you're in.
Let's say you're buying a Batman, a new 25 Batman. How do you go about pricing that?
When we're buying in a watch like that, we will look daily at what the watch is available to us in the trade. And that's probably where we'll base a lot of our figures for. On a brand new watch, it's a lot more easier to do so than a pre-owned, which has a lot more variations on condition, what it contains, box papers, etc.
And how much does your own stock level play into it? You know, like say a watch like a Batman's obviously very popular. It's one of the best sellers. If you had 5 Batmans in stock, you had 2 21s, a 22, a 23, and a 24, and somebody offered you a 24 or a 25, does that affect how much you would bid for it? Or?
As a business, it should, and sometimes we shouldn't buy, but John buys.
But you can have 20 Batmans in stock because it's probably one of the most popular models that we sell.
It's the nature of the business. You know, we're a business which has physical stock and will offer on anything. Fair enough if we have 10 Explorer 1s or Explorer 2s in stock, then yeah, potentially it might not be for us at that time.
That's part of the skill in buying, though, isn't it, John? You know, you've got to try and buy that you don't have any gaps in your inventory.
Well, that's it. If you look on our website now, there'll be 2 Batgirls and probably 6 or 7 Batmans, and that's fine. All different ages, all different priced accordingly because of their age, and that's fine. But at the same time, if they come in at part X, then you have to give an offer.
But there's also been times when you've had, sorry to interrupt you there, John, but there's also been times when you've had like quite literally nearly 10 root beers, right? And then you look the next week, somebody comes in, if you've got a root beer, we've got, and they're all gone.
Well, exactly, like a root beer, a Batman, sub-date and non-date. There's no harm in having 5 or 6 of them.
For example, if you guys don't follow us already, if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see our daily deals on there. So we might put a deal on there, whatever it might be, and it'll be snapped up. So we'll see if we can do something similar with something what we've got in stock. So then we might put one story up of one particular watch, but we might end up selling 3 because of it.
So over the last 6 months, we've probably been buying and selling 1 or 2 Hulks every month. And as soon as we've been buying them, they've been selling straight away. So over the last couple of weeks, I've made more of an effort. And we've got 5 or 6 there. We've got a 15, a 16, a 17, an 18, and a 19. I checked there this morning. So I wouldn't be surprised if next time we'll look, we've probably got 1 or 2. They're becoming popular again.
Why do you think Franck Muller dropped off?
He used to be very popular with footballers at one point.
It was just very popular. You know, every celebrity footballer were wearing those watches at that time. Even I had one. I had a Franck Muller white gold Casino at the time. You know, it was just an in brand. They have moved forwards with the times, but they've got the same models, but they've rejigged the configurations of them, and I just don't think.
I mean, they were the tonneau shape, which is like the shape of a Richard Mille, before Richard Mille.
Yeah, I used to have a rose gold Casablanca, that shape.
Yeah.
I just think it's like anything. Trends like a fashion brand. I think they're just not as popular. I think what you'll always find is Rolex in 100 years will probably be exactly the same, the most prominent brand, whereas other brands come and go.
And I don't think there's many stockists. I think there's only one official stockist in the UK, Franck Muller.
I think Hublot maybe stepped in the place where Franck Muller used to be, right? That became the kind of footballer watch.
The in thing.
The in thing. What watch brand now do you think might end up like Franck Muller?
I was just thinking of Vacheron there, but to me, Vacheron's next level compared to a lot of brands. They're just the popularity at the moment. They're not as popular as they were.
It only takes these brands to bring out one model which pops, then it's back.
Yeah, exactly. Best 40 to 41 mil Rolex for around £10,000 to £12,000.
Loads of different sports options, in my opinion, for that sort of figure. Personally, I'll probably go with a 1-1 reference Batman. £10 to £12, pick up a brilliant one of those, no problem. I think that would be my choice. Batman.
Yeah, I think obviously you can get most steel date just for around that price. You can probably get...
If you're a one watch man, you had a date just or a sports watch, what are you going with?
I would pick a GMT of some description. I think a black GMT, plain black GMT, the 116710 LN.
What about a 1-1 bluesy? 40 mil bluesy?
Steel and gold bluesy.
I think the
new...
new...
get it at that price?
Yeah.
You can definitely get black.
You'll get a Mark 1 Kermit Starbucks for that sort of price as well.
There's loads of options. It would just depend on what you want. If you want which model you want.
You could get any Yacht-master really for that price of the steel ones.
Do you think the yellow gold Daytona with the green dial, aka the John Mayer, will ever reach 100,000 again in the future?
No, definitely not. It's odd with that watch because when it was discontinued, you would have expected the value to shoot up, but all that happened was hundreds of people had got one out of their cupboard and the price dropped.
Just went straight into the market. Yeah,
just saturated the market. Everybody had one for sale. Nobody wanted to buy one.
Do you think the secret's out with discontinued watches a little bit these days? As in, like,
it depends on, because the people thought that was going to be discontinued previous to that, and then people might have bought them at a price point, and also when the prices were really high. And when they finally did discontinue, I don't think anybody was trading them. Nobody was buying, but there was just so many in the market. So it took quite a few months for things to settle back down price-wise.
What you have to think is it's a £30,000 watch. That's what everybody's cost. Yeah. So they were very lucky when it was 100,000.
Because a lot of people paid a lot more. And
but
a lot more than 100,000.
I think it's a 50 to 60,000 pounds
that
watch.
all ties back.
And I think in 10 years' time you'd be lucky if it's that much. Maybe around the same. In answer to this question, I think maybe 30 years it might be worth 100 grand. Will the premium on the latest reference Panda Daytona decrease in the future, or will it retain its value?
I think retain. The 1-2 reference we're talking about, it's such a hard watch to have in stock. When we have one, we always pay a very large premium for the watch, and and it sells pretty much within a week. It's a watch we can never keep in stock, and it's always more popular than the black dial.
John, in terms of how many you get offered of the new reference Daytona in steel, how many black dial versus white dial do you tend to get offered?
Probably around the same with the latest model. I probably get offered, 5 or 6 a week. It's probably the most sought after, most desirable.
Is it easier to buy the black dial than it is the white dial?
Probably, slightly, but in the past, I would say over the last 5-10 years, there was £1,000 difference between a black and a white one. I'd say it's probably more like 3 or 4,000 now.
2 to 3.
Yeah.
So in the last 12 months, the price of that in the market, the white dial.
So what I would say is the 1-1 reference has probably dropped a couple of thousand because I think there's a higher demand for the latest model, and I think that they're probably like 27, 28 for us to sell.
Well, for a brand new 2025 Panda.
Yeah.
I think the first ones out the gate were probably over 30, but say £30,000 for example. But yeah, it has dropped a little bit since the initial release.
I think as time goes on, in a couple of years when they're 2 or 3 years old, you might get one for 1,000 or 2 less, but I'd be surprised if they're under 25,000 for example.
The previous ceramics also.
Yeah, we've sold a 2023 of the previous model for around 24,000 a day. What is the increase in popularity of Cartier watches over the past 4 to 5 years?
I think the Cartier's always been such a strong model. I believe Cartier's now the second largest.
I think it overtook Omega after Rolex is the most popular for brand new.
Yeah, in number of units sold underneath Rolex, of course. Some of the models, the Cartier Santos, cool watch. We sell bucket loads of them in the large size with a discount of the RRP in all of the dials which they have, the blue, the green. Very popular watches, especially now with the 2 bracelets, the steel and the leather, easily interchangeable.
What part of the market do you think Cartier have captured then? Is it people who used to buy a Rolex Datejust? Is it people who were buying Omega before and then have swapped into Cartier? What kind of buyer do you think now buys Cartier? I think it's most of the
Datejust guy. A lot of the phone calls I will have is with people who are unsure what to buy, either the Cartier, go the Cartier Santos, or go for Datejust. Exactly that.
The Cartier tends to be underlist, where the Datejust tends to be overlist.
Yeah.
So do you think it's like the thing, okay, I'm getting better value out of the Cartier, but it's such a different looking watch?
It is totally different.
You could argue to have both of them, really, couldn't you?
It's you just have to go with your personal preference. So that's where people, I'll always say, come and try both on, take a look at some variations, and just go with your gut feeling, whichever you prefer.
And I think with Cartier, they're a very strong brand. Obviously, they make a lot of jewellery that's very, very popular with like the love bangles and that type of thing. They make sunglasses, but I just think they're just very fashionable at the moment.
Definitely, and you see a lot more now with the ladies wearing the Cartier watches, the smaller sizes. They become very popular. You see a lot of them on TV with celebrities, etc., wearing the ladies' Cartiers, and that's making them become very, very fashionable. Again, Cartier's coming back round. Is the Air King a good investment?
I think if you're to buy from Rolex, no. It's probably getting on for £7,000 list price now, and we can supply one for less than that.
Such a boring watch, though, in my opinion.
It's an entry-level watch, yeah, I agree. I think if you look at it compared to a 40mm Explorer or an OP41 in black, or a Datejust 41 with a black dial with a smooth bezel and an oyster bracelet, they're all very similar.
But I think this guy here, if his question is, should I buy an Air King in the hope of selling it for more money
Then categorically
within
no.
a 5-year time period or so? Well, the answer is no.
I wouldn't have thought so.
If you like the watch, buy it. It's not going to do any harm. You don't have to feed it every day. If you like it, buy it, wear it, enjoy it. When you come to sell it, come to Watchtrader. We'll look after you. You'll be fine. Moving on to the next question. This is a watch that I do like. If buying the RLX Titanium Yacht-master for £22,000-ish, do you think it will hold its value long term?
When it gets discontinued,
What do you mean, when? Have you heard that it's getting discontinued?
No, but obviously, well, at some point, but you don't see a great deal of them.
Can you say Rolex bringing out another model in titanium in March?
Like what? Titanium Submariner?
You don't
Too
know.
similar, isn't it?
So, if somebody offered you a 2024 one now, what would you bid them?
2024, 20 grand.
Do you think 22,000 is
I think it's a very fair price.
good value?
That's
Yeah.
good. We sold one. We definitely sold at least one or two last month.
Yes.
And that was the sort of figure the watch was. So I personally see that is a fair market price. And yeah, I would put my own 22,000 into that watch. It's a token point watch. It's maybe not, well, I would probably say it's not your first watch purchase. It's somebody who has a collection of watches and understands, what it actually is and what it means. It's the only Rolex Titanium in the range, and yeah,
Apart from the Deep Sea Challenge,
I think the market and the market price is fair. It's just over 20,000 on a watch like that, and I see it holding its value personally.
If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing.
Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.